Creating good content doesn't have to be hard. These tips will make you realize that it's actually a lot more simple than you think. By the way, this video is sponsored by Riverside, more on them later. The first tip that you can use, which is relatively easy and which will massively enhance the quality of your content, is to use pattern interrupt. Now, let me explain. I want you to think back to the last time you were in a doom scroll hole. So you were just sat there scrolling and scrolling on social media for hours and hours, right? Think about the videos that caught your attention versus the videos that didn't. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the videos that caught your attention did so by using pattern interrupt. They did something within the first few seconds of their video which instantly interrupted the normal pattern of content that you're used to seeing, and that caught your attention and it got you to stop scrolling. You could do something similar and it doesn't have to be anywhere near as complicated as it sounds. Here are some low lift ways for you to utilize this tactic. Let's say in the first few seconds of your video, you have some text appear on the screen. You would make some of the text a different font. Maybe you'd make some of the text slightly more bold. By doing this, it interrupts the pattern of seeing a chunk of text that is all the same font, boldness, thickness. Boldness and thickness is the same thing, but you catch my drift. Another and arguably more powerful way for you to utilize this feature is for you to switch up the angles whilst you're filming. Now, when I say that, you're probably thinking, oh, Jade, that's not easy. And I know it's not easy because I do it all the time for my Instagram content. And I say I'm going to do it for my YouTube content all the time. And then I never do because it takes too long. However, there is a low lift way for you to do this. And this is just for you to switch the angles in the first few seconds of your video. I actually use this tip a lot in my short form video content at the minute, especially when I'm trying to get something filmed fairly quickly. I will make sure that within the first few seconds of the video, there are at least 2 different angles being shown. And then I will just park up, get cozy, and stay in the exact same position for the rest of that video. It's enough to have 2 different angles in the first few seconds because that allows you to utilize the pattern interrupt tactic. Another way to utilize pattern interrupt is with your audio. So maybe you have a sound effect that appears in the first few seconds. Maybe you take a pause like this. We need to talk about Becca Bloom. Becca Bloom, and that interrupts the pattern. Get creative, and remember, this doesn't need to be anywhere near as difficult as you're potentially already making it. All right, so the next tip that you can utilize to make your content better, but also make it feel easy, is to establish a signature element. Now, I spoke about this before. My old signature element of my content used to be the background in this video. Can you see how in every single video clip, it's essentially the same background because I used to film in the exact same space? More on that later. This became my signature background. People would say to me when they were scrolling, they would immediately stop scrolling if they saw that background because they would register it before they even registered seeing me. It was almost like a branding stamp that I had established, which allowed me to immediately signal to my audience that I had new content because they would recognize the background again before they'd even recognize my face. Now, other people have other versions of this. For example, a tagline. Let's take Monet, for example. She always opens her videos with this.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Monet.
Other people have taglines for their closers. Like my unintentional tagline when I close my videos is, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch this one. And it's like I end up saying the same thing every single time, which ends up becoming a bit of a tagline. Other people use the same music in all of their vlogs. So they might have 3 to 4 songs that they absolutely love and they use them on repeat. To take it one step further, they might use certain songs when they're doing certain tasks. For example, if they're cleaning, they tend to use the same song. If they're out and about, they'll use a different song. This creates consistency and it all adds to their ability to create a signature element for their content. This massively helps with your establishment of your brand recognition, which just basically means people's ability to recognize your content, and also your bond with your community. So it actually really does help you on your journey to creating better content. And it's pretty easy to do. You might realize that there's something you're doing already. You're filming in the same space. You're opening with a similar line. Identify what that is and just keep it consistent and it'll become your signature element. My next tip is to utilize AI features to make the process of recording and editing your videos super quick and super easy. Now, the tool that I'm going to focus on for this tip is called Riverside. It's essentially an online studio which allows you to record high quality footage, but also edit it with ease. Now, since the focus of this video is discovering ways to make better quality content with ease, I'm going to focus on a few specific tools that I want you to use within Riverside, which really make the whole process easy. Okay. So once you've uploaded your video into Riverside and it's ready to edit, head over to the AI tools feature on the top right-hand side, and you'll see a lot of AI tools that are going to help you. The ones I want you to try out today, right? So if you've got a Riverside plan, try this out today. If you don't, head to the link in my description and you can use code Jade Beason to get 15% off when you're upgrading your plan. These are the features that I want you to immediately start to use. The first is called Remove Pauses. This allows you to remove all the pauses in your content with a click of a button. Not only that, but you can specify just how many pauses you want to remove by using this toggle. Mind-blowing. The next one is called filler words. This allows you to remove any filler words for your content. So you know when you keep on saying the same kind of filler word all the time, like, that is one that I think all of us do. You're actually able to use the remove filler words tool to remove them in just one click. Now, they've added some additional features here, which allows you to have more control over the filler words that you're removing. So you can either select the smart option, which allows Riverside to remove all of the filler words and then balance a mix of mutes and cuts to preserve the overall flow of the video. Or you can just cut all the filler words out completely, or you can mute every time you use a filler word. It's really up to you. The third tool you want to use to make creating high quality content super quick, super easy is the Find Fluff tool. So this allows you to find when you're like blabbling on and sharing a lot of fluff in your video that we all do, let's face it. You can find it with one click, hit apply, and it will remove any fluff from your video, which is mental, especially for like educational content creators where you're trying to get a point across clearly and consistently. This tool is going to be for you. So those are a few AI tools that you can use, which will make the process of editing your content quickly, easy, and just generally make your content higher quality, right? Because you'll tighten up the pace, you remove the fluff, remove the filler words, which usually leads to higher retention, which basically means people end up watching your videos for longer, which is what we're all aiming for. If you want to use any of those tools and you haven't gotten started with Riverside already, head to the link in my description and do not forget to use code Jade Beason to get 15% off when you're upgrading your plan. All right, my next tip I feel like is a bit of a wholesome one. If you want to make content creation easy and also improve the quality of your content, you need to film where you feel safe. Okay, as I already alluded to previously, I used to film in the same spot every single day for years. There was a time where I was filming in my bedroom for a little while, but then I quickly decided I didn't like that anymore. The reason why I filmed in the same spot every single time is because that spot in my old flat was where I felt the most safe. It was in the middle of our living room, kitchen, dining room space. It was multifaceted, that room. And it's where we used to watch TV. And it's just where I felt the most comfortable. Therefore, I filmed there because it allowed me to come off relaxed and natural on camera, which in turn meant that my content was a lot more authentic. And it allowed me to bond with you guys really quickly in the beginning of my journey, and way quicker than I think I would have if I was filming somewhere where I felt uncomfortable. People who want to rip the band-aid off and immediately start filming like on a busy road in their neighborhood and then get annoyed at themselves because they're coming across on camera really stiff and uncomfortable and they're finding the whole experience incredibly unpleasant. If that is you guys, go indoors, go film somewhere where you feel comfortable. If you're the opposite and you feel comfortable around crowds, then go film out there. You need to figure out where you feel comfortable. Sorry, I just got so passionate. Oh my God. Calm down. You need to figure out where you feel comfortable, and that is where you need to film. Do not push yourself to be filming somewhere else until you're ready. Remember, you're already doing something that is massively out of your comfort zone. There's no need to pile onto that and make it even harder, okay? Take it one step at a time and start filming somewhere where you feel safe. Okay, I need to take a breather. Jesus. All right, my fifth and final tip for you is to start your videos with a question. This kind of goes into the whole conversation around hooks, which is a conversation for another day or for another video, which I've already filmed. So I'll link to it up here in case you want to watch that. But this idea is a great one because it allows you to come up with good content ideas, but also structure your content with ease if you base it all around asking and answering one question. When you do this, it instantly grabs your audience's attention because they want to know the answer, but also it sparks conversation because people might want to comment their own answer to the question that you've just asked them. Now, a lot of people think that this type of tip is only relevant to educational creators, you know, like what should you do if you don't know how to, God, my mind just went blank.
A few moments later.
Like, what should you do if your business isn't making sales this month? My God, that took me so long to come up with the most basic example, but you catch my drift. I actually think it's just as powerful, if not more powerful, when you use it for other niches. For example, what happens when you challenge yourself not to spend any money for an entire month? And the rest of your video is about what happened when you challenged yourself not to spend money for a month. How powerful is that, right? People will comment their own experiences, but it instantly grabs your attention because you're like, what does happen when you don't spend money for a month? I assume you have a lot more money at the end of it, but let me watch this video and figure it out, okay? So why not figure out different ways that you can utilize that tip for your content? Because not only will it make it easier for you to come up with content ideas, but it'll also make it easier for your content to be really powerful and impactful. Now, if you feel like hanging around and you want to learn more about how you can edit your videos in a way that's quick, easy, and efficient, I recommend watching this video. Don't forget that you can get 15% off of Riverside when you upgrade your plan using code Jade Beason. There is a link in my description. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I cannot wait to see you in my next video. That is a signature element that I forgot to mention before. I always say that at the end of my videos.